Alright, children, settle down, and gather around the campfire. Grandma's going to tell you a story, and this is not just any story. This is a story about what I had to do in the past. You could probably use this if you ever happen to go to school and have to pick a group. All my memories are facts, and even what my grandparents told me. And don't worry, there is pictures for all of you to look at and pass around. When I was born, my tribe was just starting to migrate from what we know as the Northwest Territories to Nunavut on large boats called Inuit. Hunters traveled by in smaller boats called kayaks. They hunted within those boats and brought us food like seals, fish, and whales. During the winter time, we didn't travel by boats, but by foot and dog sleds. I even had a dog, and I named her Malina. I named her after the sun goddess. My eldest brother named his after the main god, Anagon. The two dogs fought so much, and we both named them after the two siblings in the sky. Melina would always run away from her brother, and Aragon would frequently chase after her to get revenge on what she did to him. It's just as the legend of the two go. My brother and I called them the reincarnations of the two gods. My family and I lived in a very big tent, and it held my 4 brothers and my 2 sisters. My parents had a separate part of the tent to themselves, but the rest of the tribe was also thought of as family. We even slept in other family tents sometimes. Our father was a great hunter and would often go with the other hunters to the water and sometimes bring us back a large fish and seal to eat. In the summer, we would bring us a large caribou to eat, and our mother would use the skin as clothing or for shelters. Most of our tents were made out of caribou skin or muskox, and the women of the tribe would also search for any vegetation around, but we didn't have much hope on relying on vegetation. In the winter, the males would get large bricks of snow and pile them on each other to make an igloo. When I was 4, my eldest brother started his first hunt with my father. They would sit by a small hole and wait for the seals to get a breath of air from one of those holes. They used harpoons, stone knives, ewes with muskox horn handles. Before this, my father never really hunted whales anymore after their decrease in population. The Europeans came before I was born and started to hunt whales. When the population started to decrease, they stopped coming, but these people called them missionaries started to come often to the Arctic area. They spread Christianity around, and so many parents had brought me to this place. It was a pretty abandoned place, but some of my friends sat near the statue and started to pray. My family and I did the same. Every week we did it. Then I was told about the story that these bad spirits that started to infest into the bodies of our tribe. A lot of us died that year. Even my great-grandfather had died from that spirit. Now we call these bad spirits diseases. In traditional ceremonies, shamans would bring those who had bad spirits in them into a hut called cashrooms. Not many were able to find these huts, and some dared not to go because they thought that bad spirits would find them around the hut. Other ceremonies that we had were the sun ceremony and the bladder dance. The sun ceremony was usually performed when the sun came out from the darkness again. We would perform dances and dance in the sunlight until it went down. The bladder ceremony was a tradition, the Inuit culture, to dance whenever we had a large feast due to a great hunt. We would first thank the gods for giving us this hunt and dance until we were tired. We used to use one-side drums, and we still use them today. The drum was made out of caribou skin, and it was easy to produce a sound. One of my brothers died at a very young age. He was hunting with my father, and when my father was very busy with something, he took his eyes off him. My parents told me that the creature Qualek took him and killed him. As legend goes, when a child wanders off from safety, they will be kidnapped by the creature, and the last noise they hear is the sound of humming. That was a sad day, but these legends were told many times by elders. Some were about how the raven turned black. Sedna, the goddess of the sea. She was in a boat and fell off the edge. She was still holding on to a boat, but someone either cut her fingers off the boat, or they froze off, and their fingers became the sea creatures. I was told the story in my home language, Inuit. But when we had to migrate, our tribe met with another one, which had a very different language. They spoke Inuit, and if we traveled further, we would have met the Siberian tribe, which spoke Yupik. And, on some black nights, we could use our ancestors in bright colors. We called them schools. But in Canada, we call these the Northern Lights. Now in Canada, we have about 50,000 Inuit people living here today. About 8,000 in different countries. But as we move into our own generation, there are more problems. Our culture started to die down, and we don't have any more shamans. The problem that is right now in the news is the I don't know more. And as we protest, more of us are doing bad things to our body. All we have to do now is wait for the results of the conference and wait till the government has made a decision. But now, I have a question for all of you. Should people in Canada respond to the legacies of historical globalization? I think we should, because more of the traditions are starting to die down from what they were before in the past. And as they are dying, we won't have much historical globalization, as this tradition of the bladder dance and the gods are a part of our history. The culture won't be known, and most might forget about the Aboriginal tribe.